Hello everyone, how are we doing today? I have a match for you against one Ricardo Toddy. This is an underused game, that is UU, and I have brought a various selection of dudes with me, things that I haven't used before, and I just salved them recently, so I decided it would be a good idea to just throw them all together, put them on a team, and see how they function. So, this is what we have, what we've got to deal with, and we'll see how it does. So, I lead off with Victini. If you've been following my videos since the start of 5th gen, you'll know that this is the first thing I ever used in 5th gen, which is a Will-O-Wisp Victini, followed up with 3 special moves. So it's a specially based one, no V-Create involved here. On the first turn, I decide that Rotom is probably going to Volt Switch on me, but unfortunately for me, he's actually running a Trick Scarf variant, which I haven't seen in a long time, so it did catch me off guard quite a bit. Fortunately, I managed to get off a Psychic. It is going to 2-hit KO, and what he believes is that I'm going to be baited into going for the Psychic again, because it looks like a 2-hit KO, it very much is. However, he knows that, he can switch safely to Sharpedo. I also know this, however. I'm not going to fall for his trick, so I double switch to Zapdos on turn 2, which puts me in a really strong position, because barring this Rotom and potentially the Lanturn, nothing on his team wants to take a Thunderbolt. So I go for one, takes the Rotom almost out, and he is left on a tiny amount of HP. It makes sense, obviously, to switch up moves if your opponent is at such low health, which is why I go for the Hidden Power. He obviously thought that I was going to go for the Thunderbolt again, and therefore went to his Lanturn, which at this point I'm feeling is going to be Volt Absorb over Water Absorb, simply because he switched it straight in, knowing that a Thunderbolt was coming. So we're going to go with that assertion and hopefully be right in it, but we're going to go straight to Floatzel here because a water move could be incoming or an ice move could be incoming, and I thought that, Floatzel works best because he can't be burned, he has Water Veil, but instead of being burned, he comes in on an Ice Beam and gets frozen. Thankfully, doesn't make too much of a difference because I'm able to thaw out on the second turn. Now, what you should have noticed there is that his Lanturn went before Floatzel. Now, if you're keeping account of speed tiers, you'll know that Lanturn is nowhere near Floatzel's blistering fast pace, which means, ladies and gentlemen, that he is running a Scarf Lanturn. Also explains why he went for Ice Beam again. So, with that knowledge, I'm going to go straight out to my Victini, predicting another Ice Beam, and he is actually going to switch, feeling that there's no point in him staying in. He goes into his Hitmontop, which he now doesn't want to take a burn, and therefore goes straight into this thing to die. Actually, he didn't know I had Will-O-Wisp at this point, so he kind of just went to Rotom to die. I very stupidly went for the Will-O-Wisp, which was a bad idea because I forgot Rotom was still alive. I didn't have Stealth Rock on the field, so it results in him being able to come in, get off a free Overheat as I stay in. I stayed in simply because I didn't know what he was going to do. I thought he may Volt Switch, so staying in may have worked. I didn't really want to predict, so I was just going to see what he was going to do and go from there, because I knew Rotom couldn't really harm Victini too much. But -2 Overheat should be able to take that well with a Zapdos, which is exactly what I do. I go straight into it. I know I can outspeed and roost, and that will put me in a much better footing here. He's definitely not going to want to stay in and go for any kind of move after being at -4. So, in comes Lanturn, and this thing is definitely going to be an eternal pain in my ass for a lot of the game. The problem being is that Zapdos has nothing to hit it hard with. Volt Absorb is going to take care of Thunderbolt. He obviously has the Hidden Power Ice, which isn't effective, and the Heat Wave, which isn't effective. So, not good, but I do decide to stay in, and the reason being is because now I know that he is a Scarf Lanturn. I want to see what he's going to lock himself into. If he does go for the Ice Beam, I knew I could have lived it from that range, simply because Zapdos is generally bulky, has a good amount of HP, and with Roost, I'd be able to freely Roost it off, and then switch to an appropriate check or counter. So, he brings in Flygon, and most of the time, Flygon's a Scarf. Now, normally, I wouldn't stay in on a Flygon, but with the foreknowledge that he has a Scarf Lanturn, he seems to be running relatively interesting sets, stuff that sort of deviates from the norm, and I doubted that he would have 2 Scarfers on the same team. You can run 2 Scarfers, it's very viable, but just looking at his team composition, it didn't seem like he was going to do so. Therefore, I stayed in, chanced it, went for the Hidden Power Ice, and it means I am able to take out the Flygon early game, which is very good. Flygon's a really huge threat in UU, and if you manage to take it out early, it's always beneficial to you. So, in comes Lanturn again, and I obviously want to see what it's going to lock itself into. I'm going to do the same thing, wait for him to Ice Beam me, and Roost. Roost up, because that is going to be my major key player in getting rid of this Lanturn. So, knowing that he's going to be locked in again, obviously, straight to Floatzel, best port of call at this point. And now, knowing that he's probably going to go to Hitmontop to get the Intimidate off and reduce the amount of damage that Crunch does, I am going to go for the signature move on this Floatzel, which is Switcheroo. Now, if you didn't know, Floatzel's ability is Water Veil. This means that it cannot be burned. So, if you combine Switcheroo with Flame Orb, you will be able to Switcheroo a Flame Orb whenever you want to in the game. It will never be revealed until the point of Switcherooing, because obviously Floatzel can't be burned, which is very, very cool, because it means that this Hitmontop is now rendered incredibly useless. I go to Steelix knowing that even if he wants to close combat, it won't do a lot of damage because he has that attack drop. So I go to switch Steelix. He is a standard defensive Hitmontop carrying the Toxic, so it really doesn't matter at all that I switched into Steelix, because I could have taken any move and Toxic just so happens to be one of those moves that I can take. But the problem being, he still has this Rotom left. I should have predicted the Rotom to come in and gone for the Dragon Tail. The other move that I have, whatever that happens to be, I don't know, because I don't have Dragon Tail, I have Roar instead. I should have gone for the move which would have killed him, right? Because, you know, having Stealth Rock and stuff on the field is nice, but I knew he was going to come back in. I'm explaining myself poorly in this situation, but you get the gist. He is able to get off an Overheat, but I do manage to Roar him out with Stealth Rock on the field, meaning that he is rendered useless. So, good things come of it in the end, is what I'm going to have to say. But Steelix is pretty useless now. It's gone down to Sturdy, and I don't want Sharpedo setting up a sub on me, so I just went for the Roar there on the off chance that he was going to be some weird substituting Sharpedo, and it makes sense to be able to get rid of that thing stopping from substituting, essentially, thing-majig. Anyways, I'm going to go into my Rotom, which is, in fact, a very interesting Rotom. It's kind of defensive. I think it has Life Orb, though. That doesn't make much sense. I think it is defensive with leftovers. So, I know that I can take any hit from the Sharpedo simply because his strongest attack against me is going to be Ice Fang, which is not only unstabbed, but also at a paltry 65 base power, so it's not going to be doing a lot of damage to me. Meaning that I can go for the Will-O-Wisp on the Protect and then kind of lull him into a false sense of security, making him think I'm going to go for it again, and instead just nailing him with a Thunderbolt as he Ice Fangs and takes me out. So, as he Ice Fangs and doesn't take me out, I'm able to take him out. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, in comes the Lanturn, and he predicts my switch out. He predicts me to go into something which wants to take an Ice Beam but not a Surf, and I end up just fucking up with Moses because Leaf Storm misses, and that's a real pain in my ass, I will tell you that much. For free! Indeed, people have been saying that I've been telling everything for free. That's because I'm a nice guy, I like giving things away for free, don't you know? I'm pretty nice about those kind of things. Anyway, I decided to Pain Split there, thinking he was going to switch out to something. Unfortunately for me, he just goes to Rotom as Death Fodder, which kind of works out in his favor, because now he can go straight into this thing, Mew, and go for a Psychic to easily finish me off. I think I stay in and go for Leaf Storm or something of that nature, but doesn't get it off because, of course, Mew is going to ruin my day. Now, Mew is a real pain in the ass. I don't like it. I never have liked it. Competitively speaking, it always fucks my day over. So I'm going to go into Victini, and I'm Scarfed, so I'm locked into Fire Blast, which is terrible because all I'm going to be able to do is Fire Blast this Mew, hopefully get a burn, which is kind of what I'm going for, or maybe a crit, and so I just keep Fire Blasting it. I'm like, fucking, this is getting me nowhere. He is Roost-stalling me to all hell. I can't do anything about this. I'm going to have to switch out. So I've eventually decided to go out into Fizz, go for some Zapdos action here, and I'm hopefully going to be able to threaten him a bit more with a Life Orb Thunderbolt than I am with a Scarf Fire Blast. So I'm going to go for the Heat Wave here instead of the Thunderbolt, knowing that he may want to go to Lanturn, which he does decide to do. Works out perfectly because he cannot kill me with an Ice Beam from this range, meaning that I am able to finally finish the Lanturn off, and that gives me a hell of a lot more leeway when it comes to the end game, simply because I don't have Lanturn as a threat anymore. That thing's very much out the way. Nothing else is going to be outspeeding me, at least I hope so. So very good and beneficial that the Lanturn is down. He now has Mew in the prime spot, which I have two options to get rid rid of it with. I have a choice banded Crobat with U-turn, and I have this guy with Crunch. So his last two are Mew and Hitmontop. I'm going to go for the Crunch because I don't want to overpredict at this point. Hitmontop really is not a threat to my team in any way. It's burned, and it is a defensive build, so it cannot be doing any sweeping. Definitely not going to be supporting Mew too well. So I'm going to switch out here, and I'm going to go, I believe, into Crobat, because at this point, whatever move he goes for, I'll be able to block. If he goes for close combat, it won't do anything because of the 4x resistance. If he Toxics, nothing will happen, because obviously I'm Poison, which is perfect, because it means I'm able to threaten him with the Brave Bird. Had he switched to Mew, the Mew would have been killed, 2-hit KO easily, and had he stayed in, he would have died anyway, and he does decide to stay in, so I'm able to clean him out with a Brave Bird, go for another one on the Mew, doesn't quite take it out because Mew is a fucking bitch and I don't like it and it should die. But thankfully, even though he's going to kill me with a Psychic, I do have Floatzel still left. So I'm going to be able to bring Floatzel in, go for the Crunch, and it's going to finish off the game just like that. I'm just going to wrap it up and throw it in the waste paper basket. That's what Floatzel does. He just floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. That's why I called him Ali, and now I'm rhyming. Too much rhyming. Rhyming Majimin. Anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Hope people are enjoying the face lock. That's been fun to record, I guess. It's been pretty cool. Run into some technical issues, but hey, don't we all when we're doing things we've never done before. So bear with me through those, and hopefully future episodes will be able to be fixing those problems that I encounter, I guess. Otherwise, you can leave a like if you enjoy this video. Also, I've been writing up some blogs on my IGN page. My IGN is like the social sort of forum kind of thing. It's like a social media thing on IGN.com. So if you want to read my drivel about video games, then you can go over to my profile. I'll probably link it in the description and read what other crap I write about video games. It's pretty cool. I have been enjoying doing that quite a lot. So if you want to give me some feedback, that would be much appreciated. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.